Welcome back to Boundaries Banter. We are your hosts, Taryn and Michela.
And today we are going to be talking about friendship breakups. These are often not as discussed as romantic relationship breakups, but they are nevertheless just as maybe, if not more important.
And hard to grieve.
Yeah, and we're never really taught to grieve them or how to grieve them or how to handle it.
We're taught how to handle romantic relationships, I guess, in a sense, but not friendships, which in my opinion can be much harder.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the time friendship relationships, like the breakup or the disconnect, is minimized, but it can have some real long-lasting effects. And because friendships and those types of relationships you build with people are so precious and important, and they don't contain like a physical element, someone's really just choosing you to be their friend,
to be in their life.
Yeah. That loss it's.
But why does it feel so hard? Like, why does it feel so destabilizing?
I think, I don't know, friends see you through everything. They knew you maybe, not always, but for the most part, they knew you before you had kids, before you were married, or before you kind of became the full version of yourself. Like, they're kind of part of the process.
They see you in real time.
They see you in real time,
Yeah.
but they're part of the process of you becoming your full self. And so you're kind of losing a part of yourself.
Well, I know for me, when I have a friend, well, I guess, I have a lot of friends in my life, thank God, but I want to see them be the best version of themselves. So I think that you expect the same from your friends. And so when you lose a friend, it feels shattering almost. Wouldn't you agree?
I think it depends on why you lose them. I think no matter what, it's a loss and it hurts. But there are some losses where you kind of have already made your peace with, or it was just a natural transition. And then there are other losses where you maybe didn't see things coming, or it was a really deep friendship and you never really thought this person wouldn't exist in my life in that capacity. And the thought of them existing in your life in no capacity, they do not exist in your life, is...
It's a really hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a Twilight Zone.
Well, let's talk about, the ways that friendships can end, because there's so many different scenarios of how friendships can end. And I think depending on the way that it does end can either be easier or more difficult to handle.
Okay. Give me an example.
So there is the slow fade, the less texts, just taking a step back.
The unexplained, subtle,
like a ghost.
Ghosting.
You're being ghosted.
Yeah,
you're being ghosted by your friend and you have no idea why.
Yeah.
To me, that's the hardest one, because you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what has gone wrong? I keep reaching out to this person. I have no idea what I've done wrong. But I guess if you really deep down, do you know what's happened?
Well, I think for that particular
Scenario.
dynamic, you have to have a lot of... you have to have a really strong sense of self and kind of be really grounded in who you are. Because, for example, if that were to happen to me, my mentality is that we're adults. And if there is something that is causing you to slow fade out of my life, ghost
there's
me or whatever, if there's a reason and you're
Yeah.
just not expressing it to me, like let's say months go by and, this pattern has just continued.
Yeah.
I don't care, because you're an adult and I'm here to listen to you and I want to be receptive of whatever you're going through. And if you don't have the kahunas is kahunas balls? Is it? That's what I mean to say.
If you don't have the balls to say what's going on, then...
but balls sounds so tacky. The kahunas. If you don't have the balls to say what's going on or to tell me how you feel, I can't do anything to help you. I can't do anything to fix my behavior. So the onus is on that person.
Well, for me, at least, and I can only speak on myself, if a friendship in my life had changed or a friend was upset with me for whatever reason, I would want them to come and talk to me.
Right.
Because if I was upset with a friend, I would speak to them. I would want any chance to try and fix a friendship.
Right. But your friends know that about you, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So my friends know that about me too. I think that that's something that I have clearly established in my friendships and all my relationships is that dialogue should be open. And so if somebody's not coming to me and they know that about me, there's nothing I can do.
Right. I mean, I think you and I are very lucky to have the friendships that we do because we have those good relationships with our friends that know that if there's some sort of issue or anything that they're dealing with and vice versa, it's easy to go and talk to that person.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that kind of dynamic, the slow fade, yes, it can be the hardest, but if you have that sort of anchor within yourself to know there's only so much I can do if somebody's not giving me an explanation, it becomes easier. I mean, it's harder in the existential sense of there's something happening around me I don't know.
It feels like a rejection.
It feels like a rejection and you don't know why. But if you can let go of the need to know why and just accept what is, maybe that person will come back in a month and say, hey, I'm so sorry. I took a step back
for X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
But, and then you can have the grace to say, thanks for letting me know that.
Right.
That's okay. Sometimes that happens to us. But if it's just happening for months and months then go live your life and, but.
Well, I think one of the other ways that friendships can drift and whatever the case is when your life changes or when a person's life changes with marriage, kids, you're just in a different place in life. To me, that's the easiest one.
The life shift?
The life shift. That's the easiest one.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I will say from my experience, having kids, and I did have kids before some of my friends, they've stayed with me through all paths of life, I guess. Is that the right way to phrase it? They've stayed with me through all phases of life, and they've been along for the ride with me. And now some of them, are having kids or whatever, and now we are in a more similar place of life, but they've stuck with me before kids, during kids, and to this day. Yeah. But then there's other friends that I've had that, I got married, had kids, they didn't have kids, and now they are, and we've reconnected.
Yeah, I think the life shift one is the easiest one because there's just kind of this silent mutual understanding that
you'll come back to each other.
But not always, right? They're not always. I think when women and men probably in their later 20s, earlier 30s, and women probably in their like mid 20s, when there's a shift between party lifestyle, single lifestyle versus getting into really serious relationships and kind of starting that next phase of life, there are people that kind of don't understand how you're so ready to take that next step because they're just really stuck in that same phase of life. And I think that's a really sad friend breakup because there's nothing disconnecting them but the life shift.
But doesn't that go more into the values because it's just a lifestyle? I guess it
blends, right?
It blends, yeah.
So like if your lifestyle changes and people can be judgmental about it or they can't understand or whatever it is, you've probably outgrown that friendship for the person that's trying to go into a different phase of growth or a different phase of life.
Hurts.
It does hurt
to outgrow a friendship.
Yeah. But then there's the values shift. So like if you have, different political opinions from your friends or, somebody's not respecting your boundaries or, your religious views aren't aligning or something isn't aligning, that's okay because disagreement should be welcome. But the minute that you don't see eye to eye and that becomes like a personal attack to somebody, so then that friendship shifts because of that can be very judgmental and polarizing.
I remember when October 7th happened in Israel and, people were posting and I was one of the people that were posting and I lost a lot of followers and friends that were followers too.
And you know what? I'm so happy you brought this up because I didn't think we would talk about this on here.
Yeah.
And I'm scared to talk about it on here because of how much hate has been thrown around. But I don't want to be scared of anything. And you're right. And we shouldn't be. We did this to be vulnerable. And you're right. I lost a lot of friends after what happened in Israel on October 7th. I would lose those friends over and over and over again. Not because I chose to, but because they gave me no other option. With the kind of hate and insensitivity, the lack of support we had for people that were just slaughtered.
Yeah.
Our entire community.
I mean, look, we're not going to focus on that.
Yeah.
But
it's an example.
It is one of the ways that you can lose friends. I mean, even think about, let's just do a pop culture moment. Have you heard of the Ashley Tisdale drama?
The moms?
The moms.
Yeah.
The moms. Okay, so I guess she had this friend group with, who was it? Hilary Duff, Mandy Moore.
Celeb moms.
And she decided.
Like our type of celeb moms who we grew up with.
Right. Like, I mean, we all watched Lizzie McGuire, right?
Yeah.
By the way, now that she's made a comeback and her, taking her world tour, I'm excited about that one. I missed all those songs. Didn't you miss those songs?
Yeah, it's coming up on my TikTok and I'm like, wow, like 13, no, younger, 6.
I mean,
13-year-old me is like.
This is what dreams are made.
Okay, but the mom drama.
Yes, the mom drama. Okay, back to that. So she, I guess, exited this group because it felt toxic to her.
Well, she wrote an article somewhere, right?
Yeah. The article doesn't tell you exactly what happened, and it actually doesn't even say who the friends were.
Names?
No, it doesn't name names. Mm-hmm. The article that I read, unless I read it incorrectly, I did read it in the middle of the night. So,
okay.
But it doesn't say exactly what happened. It's just that it was a friendship breakup, and it's not easy.
I think it was something, I don't know. But she said, she basically was saying that she was experiencing bullying, mob mentality, kind of toxic behavior. She felt very judged, this and that. But then there were other things that came out that I think, I don't want to get this wrong, but I think one of them had lost their homes in the fire. I think it was Mandy Moore.
Yeah.
And Hilary Duff took her in. It's really weird that we're talking about them like this because when I think Mandy Moore, I think A Walk to Remember.
I think A Walk to Remember too. I love that movie.
Me too. But yeah, and I think there was some talk about how Ashley Tisdale was really insensitive to that. I don't know. I really don't know what's what. But to feel so ousted by a group that you write an article, I mean, there are two sides to a story and everyone's probably feeling really hurt.
Do you think there's any coming back from that now? If Ashley's like, I want to be back in, or do you think that there's any
I want to be back in the mom crew after the article?
Or do you think they're all, I mean,
I don't know because the husband got involved too. Did you see?
Really? No, I didn't see that.
Oh my gosh, Hilary Duff's husband got involved. He posted something to make fun of it, to like mock Ashley Tisdale's article.
So that's him confirming.
So that's super awk. I don't think once someone's husband is involved, it's kind of, like leave it to the ladies. So once the husband is involved, it's kind of like there's no going back to the crew.
Well, okay. To that, I think that's also why friendship breakups in marriages are really hard, because I know for me, yes, sure, I talk to my husband about things that go on in my life, but I don't think my husband would understand how I would feel about a friendship breakup if that were to happen to me.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I would talk to you about it.
Yeah.
I would talk to you about it. And look, I talk to my husband about everything. He's my best friend. I love him to death. But I think that's the kind of thing I would talk to
me about.
Yeah.
I think my husband, and I think you would agree with this, is like uniquely equipped to deal with this kind of thing.
Yeah, your husband is. He is.
He's so good with this.
But also, if you need the best chick flick recommendation, we ask your husband.
Yeah. He's just really like empathetic. He really understands. I think he went through similar things in his life too.
With friends.
Yeah. And I think when I go through it, he's just really understanding and there for me and also really supportive. Like he'll tell me if he thinks I'm in the wrong and I'll always seek his advice to ask if I'm in the wrong. But he's just really supportive of it. But yeah, I agree. I think it's easier, with my female friends for the most part.
Well, I think that's what also makes friendship breakups so hard, because let's say, you have a falling out with a best friend.
And it's in a group, you're saying?
Even if it's not in a group, you're so used to talking to that BFF about things that go on in your life.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so sad.
It's really sad.
And
it sucks.
And even if, I'm married, you're married, and our lives have moved on from a lot of things and we're in different phases, but my friendships and my relationships with my girlfriends are so meaningful to me. They really shaped who I am, honestly.
Yeah, mine are also everything to me.
Everything to me. They're really, my friends that are my best friends are truly my family. They're truly like sisters to me. Like I got a million extra sisters in this life on top of my own sister, which is just, really a blessing.
Consider yourself lucky. Yeah, it's a blessing.
And so the fact that I have a husband and we're going to start a family and all of these things doesn't make the loss of one of those relationships easier. I mean, it makes it easier in the sense of I have kind of this constant moral support in my home with me to lean on, but the loss doesn't feel less significant.
No, of course. I mean, I have a group of very, very close friends. One of them I have been best friends with since college. So we were young. It's been a long time.
It was a long time.
It's a long time. And we've been best friends since my freshman year in college. And our kids are really close in age. We talk to each other every day. We like joke around all the time. We wish that, we were neighbors and there was like a tunnel, cutting through to our homes. Cause that's what a best friend is, It's
I mean, I lived with one of my best friends for almost 8 years.
Yeah. I actually did too. One of my best friends I lived with for a very, very, very long time.
And she's like, she knows me. She might know me better than my husband does.
Yeah.
Like we were in like a common law marriage. And to this day, she's like a sister to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, hold on. Let's get back to the other. We went off on a tangent.
I know we totally did, but that's okay.
That's okay. Let's go back to the types of ways that friendships can end. So we went through I
think we went through pretty much everything.
We went through the slow fade.
You grow out of you grow out of friendships too, and that's okay. And hopefully one day you reconnect. But
but what about the betrayal?
The betrayal is hard. I think that like gossipy betrayal thing, to me, that's very high school.
Yeah, for me, if that happens, that's the easiest friendship breakup.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Sorry, I needed a sip of coffee. At this stage of my life, I'm not going to have a friend in my life that talks badly about me.
Yeah, I think it's hard to accept that somebody could do something evil that you love.
At this age.
Yeah, or whatever. That's the hard part. But like the letting go part isn't so hard because who wants that?
So I think when you are experiencing a breakup, friends rarely express why they're pulling away, which we briefly touched on in the beginning of this episode. And while you and I and our friend groups, would always be so open and willing to discuss it, I think there are groups out there, and especially in high school and middle school and college when you're younger, it's very, very difficult. You just kind of experience a friend pull away, and that creates a lot of rejection. And, we had an episode about this a few episodes back on bullying. And when you are X'd out from a group, especially when you're in middle school, high school, whatever, it can feel like you're being bullied almost, that you're being X'd out by all these people, that you're being ganged up on.
Well, I think that we should also talk about when I get in the way that you're talking about is when it's happening to you, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, but you as your own person with agency, at what point do you make the decision that this friendship is now costing me a price that's too expensive?
Well, I guess it depends. What is that price? For me, it would be constantly reaching out, trying to make plans and not being reciprocated. Mm-hmm. I know from hearing stories from people that they've, always tried to make plans with someone or tried to get together, or invited them over or whatever it is. And it's not being reciprocated, or that person's not interested. And I understand from that other person's perspective, like you don't want to say, hey, I don't want to be friends with you. Stop talking to me. So you just keep making excuses. But it gets to a point that it's awkward and you stop making an effort, right?
Yeah, but to that point, it's difficult because how do you determine that that's the reason that they're not responding to you? So for example, I have a best friend and she is kind of like a little fairy, and she, you know, is always somewhere else in the world and is always busy. And sometimes I will text her 4,000 times in a row and she will not respond to me. And yes, it can be annoying. But when I see her, it's as if
You saw her yesterday.
I saw her yesterday. Yeah. And I know how much she like loves me and how much she always just wants the best for me. And so even like I accept how she is and that this is just how our relationship is. And this is how the relationship she is with all of her friends. And so it's not a rejection to me. And I do see how some people can feel like it's a rejection to them. And I know that like people have discussed that with her, and it's kind of something you have to just accept, or you can't.
Dependent on your personality too.
Yeah. But I think when it's, so you have to be careful not to internalize it as a rejection. But I think when you talk to someone about how, you know, you're feeling, or if they've hurt you or upset you, and then they start to pull back, I see why that could really feel like a rejection. So like talking to somebody and addressing why you feel hurt, or let's say I call you and I say, hey, Michela, like I'm feeling really left out. The way that you've been treating me, you know, for a while just doesn't feel good. I feel like a little icky, or I feel a little unsupported in this way, or whatever it is. And then, you know, maybe the dialogue doesn't go the way I want it to, or maybe it does, but then I don't hear from you really for like a month after, and you become distant. Yes, I need to give you some grace, right? But at the same time, that would feel like a rejection to me because I've expressed myself to you.
I think that's 100% right. Like, yes, give the person grace, but it also can feel like such a rejection.
Yeah.
Two things can be true at once.
Two things can be true at once. I think it's hard, you know, to leave things unsaid for a long time. Sure, a couple weeks, but then it gets to a month, 2 months. You should try and express your feelings when it feels like a right and good time for you to. And hopefully the person on the receiving end will be receptive of it. And hopefully that person will listen to you and want to move forward. I think after that happens, it can kind of be awkward, right? Like, who makes the effort?
Yeah. And at what point are you just pushing it too much?
Right.
And at what point do you need to take a step back? But then also, at what point do you just say, sayonara, Sally?
Sayonara, Sally. I think at the point you say sayonara, Sally is when you've expressed yourself to this person maybe more than once or twice. And they're either repeating the same bad behavior, or, you know, I
don't even think, sorry to cut you off, you can't even really call it bad behavior. What if on their end, it's just like, okay, I just need...
I'm talking about like repeating the same actions that actually hurt you in the first place, right? So that's one. And I'm contacting you now and I'm putting all the effort as if I'm trying to kind of audition still for this friendship that I got hurt, that something hurt me.
I think you just said something so perfect in the scenario. It's as if you're re-auditioning for a friendship.
Oh, the minute that you feel that way, I think it's sayonara, Sally.
Yeah, sayonara, Sally.
And it doesn't mean that like sayonara, Sally doesn't mean goodbye forever. It means I'm not really going to
goodbye for now.
Put effort into this. But if you want to come put effort into my life, into this friendship, I'm here.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Dude, let's talk more about like what's been happening in pop.
Okay. So
in pop culture.
What was the other story?
Oh, so there's this girl on social media. Her name's Brianna. I don't know her surname, but her thing is Brianna Chicken Fry.
I don't know her. I've never even heard of that.
She always comes up on my TikTok. She was like a Barstool girl. And she's a Barstool girl. And I think that she started Barstool. Like she brought her friend with her. Her name's Grace. And they were kind of like a team. I don't know anything about these people. I just know that sometimes they come
You know that there was a little bit of drama.
Well, she was like dating Zach Bryan, the country star. And they had a podcast together, she and the other girl, Brianna and Grace. And they ended their podcast. I don't think it was because they stopped being friends.
Was it like a call? Didn't Call Her Daddy have a podcast with a friend?
They stopped being friends, and the internet,
went crazy.
Like that's why I know about this, because it was all over my feed. Like it was international news about these two random girls having a friendship breakup, and it was like so intrusive to something that probably was really hard for people that were close for a really long time. And imagine going through that kind of thing and having the entire world just staring at you wondering
who was wrong.
who was wrong and blaming everybody and blaming each other. And
well, think about even watching the reality TV shows, especially one like The Real Housewives.
yeah.
It's all about friendships and the drama between friends.
Yeah, but isn't it fake?
I have no idea.
Like, that's not real.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's
It
buying
makes
that?
for good TV. I'm sure that some of it's real.
You think?
Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, to just recap, friendships are super important. I mean, I know at least to me, my friendships are extremely important, even though my main priority is my husband and my kids. My friendships are, so important to me. I always want to make sure I'm being a good friend. I know the same goes for you. But for our listeners, if you're experiencing a friendship breakup, we hear you. It's sad. I think that when two people really love each other as friends, that there can always be a way back if you're willing to sit down and discuss, but you both have to be able to put the past behind you if you want to move forward.
Have you ever had a really bad friendship breakup?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger.
Yeah. I had a really bad friendship breakup.
What happened?
I had best friends. Like, we were a group of 5 people since we were in high school. And during COVID, when we were all in lockdown, I was going through a little bit of a something. I wasn't really in the best mindset, and I was going through kind of pretty serious like mental health issues. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really the most stable. There's this thing that happens it's very common with women around like 24 to 26, where they're diagnosed with, I think it's called cyclothymia. I may be pronouncing that wrong. It's a really subtle mood disorder where your highs are high and your lows are low, but it's not like to the extent of manic depression, bipolar. And I think I was doing things and behaving in a way and living a lifestyle that they didn't necessarily agree with or approve of. But instead of asking me like, what's going on? Are you okay? You're really acting unlike yourself because we've known you for 10, 15 years.
So these are people that were in your life for a very long time. Yeah. It wasn't a new group.
No. And everyone stopped talking to me at once. I was removed from friend groups. I knew that there were other friend chats that were made without me in them. And I couldn't understand why. And it went on for months. And I was being ghosted, and I did not know why. Okay.
The hardest kind of breakup.
Yeah. And I was going through so much. I was not okay. I was really not okay in the head. I was sad and depressed, and I was just really not doing well.
And the world kind of felt like it was coming to an end.
And the world felt like it was coming to an end. And then I ended up having individual Zoom calls with each of them individually.
Because it was still social distancing.
Yeah. And I had an hour Zoom call with each of them, which was so emotionally taxing. I mean, I was so distraught.
Who set that up?
I don't remember. It was such a long time ago. Yeah. I mean, it was me nudging for months. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's going on? Why is no one talking to me? And especially when we were already isolated, it was really cruel. Honestly, it was cruel. What they did was really cruel. And I'll say that.
It is really cruel. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it was. And if they didn't want to be my friend, that's totally okay. But the way they went about it was just so cruel. And when I did have a Zoom call with each of them, some of them were really mean about it and just kind of I don't remember what was said. It was such a long time ago, but I remember it felt pretty apathetic. And then there were a couple others where they were very sad. They didn't want to be my friend, it didn't seem, but they
were sad about how they handled it.
I think that there was this level of guilt because of how they handled it. And then I never spoke to them really ever again after that. No one ever spoke to me. No one tried to be my friend, and no one ever asked what I was going through. And I told them all during those meetings, which I do remember, is I'm not okay, and I haven't been okay, and I wasn't okay for a long time. And they did not deserve to be friends in my life, because I had other friends in my life that are still my best friends today that were with me during that time and were really concerned about me. And they were like, hey, are you okay? You're not behaving like yourself.
Well, that's what a good friend does.
That's what a good friend does.
They're there for you through all these phases and waves.
And they don't
of
judge
life.
you.
Yeah, they don't judge you. A friend, I think the worst thing a friend can do is judge you.
Yeah. And so I saw one of them at a wedding like a few years after that. And when I saw her, it was the first time I'd seen any of them. Mm-hmm. She just came up to me and she started crying. She was bawling.
She knew.
She had guilt. And I was consoling her, saying, it's okay. It's okay. You know, it's fine. It's fine. And so I've run into her from time to time and I, have love for her and it's all good for all of them. I don't have any anger, but, I'm so happy that friend breakup happened because I really believe that God rids people from your life that should not be there.
I agree with you.
I mean, that was really bullying.
Even though you understand that people that aren't meant to be in your life are taken out for a reason, it doesn't make it any easier when you feel so judged.
Yeah.
Blindsided and left out.
Yeah. I mean, it was 4 against 1.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
Was it 4? Yeah, it was 4 against 1.
Well, I can say for a fact that you're not the only one that goes through this.
Yeah.
I've been through things like this. We all do. But I think at the end of the day, you have to, as you said in the beginning of the episode, try not take it too personally. Give the other people grace and, approach the situation, try make it right. But if it's not going the way that it should, know when to step back and when to say,
Sayonara, Sally. And also focus on your friends that really give you that support. I've had friends that are my best friends since I'm 5 years old and they were in my wedding. And then I have best friends since I was 20 and they were in my wedding. Yeah. And I'm so, so blessed. And the extra people that did not deserve to be in my life were removed on the way.
Exactly.
And I didn't have to do anything.
There you go.
I guess maybe have a mental breakdown.
That's it.
That's it.
Let's get into our story. You want to read it today?
Okay.
So, well, first off, as you guys know, we have our viewers send in their stories to boundariesandbanter@gmail.com.
Boundaries and banter
@gmail.com. A lot of the stories we receive, well, especially after our first episode, were more related to in-law dynamics, sister-in-law, brother, whatever it may be. But we want you guys to send your stories no matter what they're about. So
we have one about friend.
We got one about a friendship, but please feel free to send stories about friends.
Anything
Literally that you just
anything.
need like a outside perspective on.
Okay. Hey guys, so I need advice. I didn't realize the friendship was ending while it was happening. There wasn't a fight or anything dramatic. It just slowly got quieter. Texts took longer, plans stopped happening, and at some point I noticed I was the only one reaching out. I kept telling myself everyone gets busy, that it wasn't personal, but deep down it felt like something had changed and I didn't know why. And so now I'm stuck wondering, do I say something? Do I ask what happened? Or do I accept the distance and let it go? Because I don't want to force something that's already gone, but I also don't want to walk away from something that still matters. What would you do?
I would say something.
There's not a lot of context.
I know, it's not really...
I guess it matters. What does the friendship mean to you? Ask that first.
Right. But for me personally, I would say something. I would say something like, is something wrong? I'm sensing distance or whatever it is.
But what if it was a brand new friendship and this person that you felt ghosted by, I think the first thing is like, don't seek validation. First check in with yourself and see what you want.
Yeah.
Is this the friendship that you want? Is this the friend?
Okay, but let's say it is.
Okay.
New or not.
So let's
new or old.
It doesn't matter. Just, ask yourself the questions like, what does this mean to you? How much are you willing to sacrifice? How much are you willing to take? Okay. It means something to you. Now what do you do? Say something.
I would say something, but then I would also know when to take a step back and say, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think something saying like, hey, I've noticed that it feels like you have pulled back a little bit lately. And I just want to see, is there anything that I've done that may have hurt you or caused you to act that way? Or, if maybe you're just busy, that's okay. Just let me know because I care about you and our friendship. And I just want to
exactly.
make sure that we're okay.
exactly.
And if there's something like, I want you to know that you can talk to me about it.
Right.
Yeah. And then if it continues,
then you need to
give them some space.
Yeah, give them some space. Either it's meant to be or it's not.
Yeah. Would you rathers?
Would you rather is our favorite part of the day. Would you rather always initiate plans and keep friendships alive or pull back and see if it dies? I would pull back.
Yeah, but it's hard to say that when you really love someone.
That's true.
But yeah.
I guess I say that, but I probably would.
I feel like...
Yeah. I don't think I would pull back. I would pull back as a last resort.
I think I would pull back.
Yeah, you would pull back.
Yeah.
You would pull back. Would you rather know exactly why a friendship ended, even if it hurt, or never know, but be able to protect the memory of what it used to be? I'd rather know. For sure, I'd rather know. I'd want to know what the hell went wrong.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, but nostalgia is such a... I mean, you can still feel nostalgic for good times, though.
Yeah, but then every time you have a memory of that friendship, you're just going to be annoyed and upset and hurt that it ended and you don't know why. So I'd rather know.
But what if you think that you just drifted and it was just natural?
I don't know. I still would rather know.
Yeah.
Would you rather find out a dear friend has been talking badly about you behind your back and deal with it head on, or never find out and think everything is okay? That's a hard one. Is the friendship going to be the same no matter what?
I don't know. Someone just talked mad shit on you.
I guess I would want to know because I wouldn't want someone in my life that's going to speak so badly about me.
Me too.
I mean, I'm at that age and stage in my life where...
Yeah. When I think of my friends, all I want to talk about is how fantastic they are.
I feel the same way.
I want to talk about how I want them to succeed. I want to talk about how smart and beautiful and warm and funny and all of the amazing things about them. Like, I just want to sing their praises. I could be singing their praises until I'm 100 years old.
You know what is so funny about it? Okay, so you have all your friends that you grew up with.
Yeah.
And I have my friends that, I've had since college, my best friends.
Well, in college.
Yeah. Okay. Same. Like
a mix.
Old friends.
Yeah.
But now that my kids are one of my kids
Your
are
mom
in school.
Friends?
Yeah, I have my mom friends, and those friendships, they mean so much to me. And it's this whole new group of BFFs that I've made.
That's so nice.
No, it's really, and we're in like the exact same phase of life because our kids are the same age. And look, like some of my friends from college, we have kids very close in age, but I'm talking specifically about the new friends. So you'll see when you have kids one day that you do make this whole new group of friends. And now that my baby's starting his like mommy and me classes, I feel like it's going to be a whole nother group of friends that I'm going to make too.
That's so exciting.
So it's fun.
Anyways. and sometimes you luck out with a sister-in-law.
That's true. We got lucky.
We got lucky.
BFFs.
BFFs.
We'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week.